Okay, now we got part 2 of disassembly. We've already taken off the controller board. I mean the main logic board. What's left is the back of the screen, and the inverter board, and the controller board. And right now we're going to disconnect the controller board. Just tripod back in place. First thing, I'm going to flip the screen around to do this. When you move the screen around, make sure there's nothing underneath it. You don't want to scratch these screens. Okay, this is the controller board. Ribbons have tape on it. You can untape them. Don't really have to, but sometimes the tape holds on the cover, so I'll just get rid of it. Again, you want to squeeze the 2 clips on the side of the large one and pull it backward. And the other one, give it a good squeeze. Up and down with a rock and pull. Alright, you want to remember which direction they went into, so you might want to color them. Next step is to remove this tape. There's 4 very fragile ribbons underneath here. So you want to keep as you're peeling it up, you want to keep pressure on the ribbon. And just let the tape rip, because this is going to get thrown out. Just hold these ribbons down and wiggle. These are one thing you don't want to damage. Throw away that piece of plastic that comes off with it too. And like that. And you want to release the little brown clips. Like getting your fingernail underneath it and just lifting them up. Number 1 screwdriver. Everything else was number 2. We got 4 screws. These are little flatheads, different than the rest of them, so make a note of that. Usually got a little green on them too. So sometimes they got blue. Once they're loose, take the ribbon. There's a little pull area here you can grab. Just pull them out. Don't over bend them backwards. And just lift the board up slowly. And that's the board and the cover. Flip your clips down. And then sometimes they're stuck pretty good, so you got to work them to get them to release. Because this gets clipped on in some cases. And once you peel the thermal pad on, that's the trouble maker on 95% of these monitors. And put this aside. If you need to remove the inverter, which usually there's no reason for it unless you're changing the screen. This one's held on with 6 screws. Move the 3 on the outside first. Again, these are the same screws, little flat covers that are on the controller board. And I guess I should put this tripod down. I can use 2 hands on the next part. And you lift up the plastic and squeeze the sides of these white clips and pull them out. That disconnects the bulbs. That's 6 of them. Once those are all released, and you can take out the other 3 screws and lift the inverter board right out. Right up. That's your inverter board. And I'm just going to set that aside. We'll put this cover back. Now, if you happen to have to take off the front trim, if you happen to disconnect your LCD ribbon, in the process of doing it, you'll have to take the trim off to fix that up. you need to do is remove the 4 screws on the bottom edge that I mentioned in part 1. I'll show them again. That's 4 large screws along the bottom. You need to remove them, and you also need to lift this tape up with the ribbon. And don't pull it too hard when you get around the corner, but also make it so it flips out of the way. Remove the 4 bottom screws. I'll take them apart because I'm doing a preventative on the screen. Remove those big screws, or large heavy thread. Whoops, drop that one. Get it later. And to get the front trim off, either lift from the bottom first or lift here. This top is held with clips. Just unclip it. There's like 6 clips. Release it like so. And the screen will lift right up out of the trim. Now, once this is off, you're going to watch how you lay this screen down because there's no longer anything holding it up off the ground to protect it. So I recommend a pad. Something like that underneath it. Right now I'm just going to shim it up in the air because I'll take it further later. Okay, if the screen has to come apart to be changed, a piece of tape on the top got to be pulled off. You can see heat got to this one, loosened it up already. Just scrap that. And a piece along the bottom, that's got to be taken off. After that's off, you got 2 screws on top. 1 and 2. And the bottom has 4. They're large screws. Those will take off the top and bottom rail. And the controller for the remote control and the USBs on the bottom is mounted to the bottom rail. So as soon as you untape and remove them screws, everything will come off in one piece. You'll have to lift this cover up out of the way to do that. And that's about it on disassembling it. I'm not going to pull those rails and do a video on it because that's kind of self-explanatory once you do that. And next one will be putting it back together. Yeah, if you get stuck, have any questions, drop me an email. Don't guess.